Hi guys, it's Miss Cat. Today we're going to be practicing 5 different skills that we've already used in other ways this year to prepare for our last unit. So the 5 skills we're going to practice today are distributing a coefficient, combining like terms, adding with parentheses, subtracting with parentheses, and factoring. Let's get started. Distributing a coefficient. So a coefficient in this problem is 3 because we're actually taking 3 and we're multiplying it by everything inside the parentheses. So we have negative 10 plus 2b, and we're multiplying that by 3. So a way that you might see this written more typically would be like this: 3 times the quantity, negative 10 plus 2b. But when the number is after the parentheses, it just means multiply the same way it does if it's in front of the parentheses. Both mean multiply. All right, so let's check it out. If we have negative 10 plus 2b and we multiply that 3 times, it means we have 3 groups of this. We have 3 negative 10s, so we know that that's negative 10, negative 20, negative 30. And then plus 2b, 4b, 6b. 6b is our answer. More conventionally or more often, you will see it done like this. You'll see the 3 is distributed to the negative 10. So we have 3 times negative 10, which is equal to 30. And then that is added to 3 times positive 2b. And actually, instead of using the x here, because it does look like a variable, I'm going to go back and put 3, and I'm going to put the dot symbol. So 3 times 2b is 6b. So either way we do the problem, we get 30, negative 30. Sorry, that was 3 times negative 10, plus 6b. Moving on to our second skill, combining like terms. So combining like terms, when we have two things that are the same, we have x plus 2x, we have 3x. So here we have 2 times the quantity b plus 3. So just like in our last problem, we know that that means we have 2 groups of b plus 3. And then we have plus 3b. So if we're counting how many b's we have in all, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have 5b plus, here we have 3 plus 3, which is 6. So 5b plus 6. Another way you could solve this problem would be to take the equation and distribute the 2 to the b. So we would get 2 times b is 2b plus 2 times 3 is 6 plus 3b. And then we can combine 2b and 3b because they're like terms to get 5b plus 6. Adding with parentheses. Basically, the parentheses with the addition sign in the middle just means that all of this has to be added to this. So looking at like terms, our first set of like terms that we have are negative 3x and 8x. So negative 3x plus 8x, if we have 3 negatives and 8 positives, the negatives and the positives cancel each other out, and we are left with positive 5x. And then if we have 4 plus 4, we get plus 8. So the answer is 5x plus 8. It's a little bit more complicated when you are subtracting like terms because you have to subtract everything here. So negative 3x minus 8x. If we have 3 negatives and we take away 8 more, we get negative 11x. And then our second one that we have, so that was for negative 3x minus 8x. Our second one that we have is 4 minus 4. So last time when we had an addition sign here, we just added these, which was pretty easy. But remember that this negative applies to the 8x, but it also applies to the 4. So 4 minus 4 we know is 0. So our answer is negative 11x. Before we move on, I just want us to take a look at, let's imagine what the difference in the answer to this problem would be if instead of a positive here, I had a negative sign. So I had the problem negative 3x plus 4 minus the quantity 8x minus 4. So I would still have negative 3x minus 8x is equal to negative 11x. For the second part, I would have positive 4 minus negative 4. And we know that subtracting a negative is the same as adding a positive. So that would make the answer 11x plus 8. Let's look at our last problem. The first thing we did was distribute something. We had a number and we multiplied it by both of the terms inside of the parentheses. Now we're going to do the opposite, which is to factor it. We're going to see what can I take out here to multiply something x minus something. So our answer is going to look like this. We're going to have a number multiplied by blank x minus blank. And on both of those blanks, we're going to have a different number. So we're going to have a number here, and we're going to have a number here. So to factor this, the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm just going to divide everything by 2, because for me, that's the easiest way to think about this problem. So if I divide everything by 2, I get 2 times 28 divided by 2 is 14x minus 42 divided by 2 is 21. So if I multiply this back out, 2 times 14x would be 28x. 2 times 21 would be 42. So now I want to look at, is there something else I can factor out of this? And of course there is. I see that 14 and 21 are both divisible by 7. So just this part, I'm going to divide by 7. So now I have 2 times 7 times, and then 2x minus 3. Because if I multiply 7 by 2, let me switch colors here. If I multiply 7 by 2x, I get 14x. And if I multiply 7 by negative 3, I get negative 21. So right now, I'm going to rewrite my answer up here. My answer is currently 2 times 7 times the quantity, which means open parentheses, 2x minus 3. The last thing I'm going to do is, since I didn't just take out 14, which I could have, I'm going to multiply these together, and I get 14 times the quantity 2x minus 3. Now to check my answer, what I'm going to do is actually take this answer and multiply it out to make sure I get what I started with, which is 28x minus 42. So I'm going to start with 14 times 2x is 28x. And then 14 times negative 3. I know 14 times 2 is 28. So times 1 more. I would add the 14. And then I would get that equals 42. So that is equal to 28x minus 42. So I was able to check my answer to see that I got the correct answer. I hope these help you to solve the problems in your review. And if you have any questions, you can post them as a comment to the video or on Google Classroom. Thanks for joining us.